Tesla will lay off more than 10% of its global workforce as it grapples with falling sales and an intensifying price war for electric vehicles. The firm had more than 140,000 employees globally in December. Tesla boss Elon Musk told staff he hated it, but the cuts had to be done. Tesla shares were down 0.3% in pre-market trading on Monday. Well, joining me to make much more sense of this story than I ever could is Rotis Adiri, Arise business anchor. Rotis, it makes a nice change seeing you here in Abuja.
On the other side.
Yeah,
Good to see you, Faith. The one-woman wrecking team. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Thank you for taking the time. I have to be honest, I was a bit surprised when I saw this news, but you probably weren't. Yeah. What does this say about how things are going at Tesla?
Things are tough. It all started with the first quarter numbers for Tesla's deliveries for the first quarter of this year. So they came in at 386,000. The market was expecting, the forecast was 450,000. In the third quarter of last year, they did 486,000. So that's a 20% drop from the deliveries they made in the last quarter of last year. And then the first quarter of last year, so a year-on-year basis, Tesla did 426,000. So that's an 8% drop. So that is the first year-on-year decline in deliveries that Tesla has had since the pandemic period. Demand is falling. The Chinese companies like BYD are eating Tesla's lunch. And one of the reasons for that is because China is just flooding the markets with cheaper electric vehicles than Tesla. So and Tesla hasn't released a new model in years. So they really need to rejig things, but the main thing is that demand is waning, and those first quarter numbers really took Wall Street by surprise. You mentioned it pre-market trading earlier being down 0.3%. Tesla's stock for the year to date is down 30+%. So it's really tough. Yeah,
it's huge numbers. I mean, you mentioned there Tesla facing stiff competition from the Chinese. Elon Musk had plans to roll out an affordable electric vehicle to try and make this accessible to people. He's rolled back those plans while firms in China are very much going ahead with that. How much of an impact has that had?
It's had a big impact at the market, because the only way to be competitive at this point is to make a cheaper electric vehicle, because you're trying to scale demand and let people. In China, you can get an electric vehicle for the equivalent of $10,000, and he's trying to get a $25,000 vehicle out there. So I think it's a wage issue. Wages in the United States and the West are much higher than they are in China, so it's tougher. Cost of production is tougher. But he turned around and said he wants to do the robo-taxi, and that's what they're going to be focusing on. So that impact was tough. So you take the low delivery numbers that underperformed Wall Street estimates, and then you take these news on rolling back this $25,000 car, and that's a double whammy for the company. The earnings, I think they're going to have their earnings call on the 23rd of this month, or 20th. We'll get more information from the company, and he will be on the call and hopefully answer questions to shareholders. But yeah, to answer your question, that was a tough blow.
And Elon Musk, I mean, he has said he hates having to do this, but he has to do it. He's stressed the importance of cost cutting for Tesla. What about him personally? How does this affect Musk himself?
Well, it affects his brand, because Tesla for a while looked like it was unstoppable. I mean, they just released the Cybertruck, which was more of a toy, not really something that's going to impact their earnings. They've also had FSD, full self-driving, a bit of a controversy there because of how safe it is and whether you can really sit in the car and let it drive you. But he was just bringing out these new software updates and things that made him look untouchable until the reality of the Chinese happened. And another thing on cuts, he says he hates to do it, but he cut a lot of stuff at Twitter X when he got over there. So he's not somebody who shies away from cost cutting. But Tesla was like, if you look at his portfolio of companies, was like the shining jewel. I'm on Twitter a lot, and there is like this frothy cult following of the company where they talk about how so it kind of hit his brand a little bit, but then everything's going to rely on the earnings call to him to come out and tell shareholders exactly where the company is going.
So it's not great news for Musk if the way he treated the employees at Twitter are anything to go by. It's worse news for the Tesla employees, right?
Exactly, it is indeed, and it's something to where him as a leader, him as somebody who is supposed to inspire staff, all that's going to come under question. But Tesla's just being hit hard right now. Tough competition, waning demand, and then we have to also throw in Elon Musk himself has engaged in some really polarizing material on social media. He's, you know, a lot of people saying now that X is a playground for right-wing conspiracy theorists. It's also been said that he's been a bit distracted because he's doing Tesla, he's doing Twitter, he's doing SpaceX, he's doing so many, Neuralink, the boring company. So it kind of, you know, there's also the question of whether or not he's even able to concentrate fully on the company. So he's juggling a lot of balls in the air. And
he spends half his day tweeting.
I don't know how he does it.
It's incredible.
You're running that many companies. How do you have time to tweet that much and rile
some
people
of the tweets are, I mean, to say inappropriate, I think is being kind. Yeah. I mean, yeah,
indeed,
it's crazy.
Indeed.
Well, thank you for bringing us up to date with that, Rotis.
Appreciate it, and good to see you again, Faith.
To see you.